Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of That Tom Clancy Show, starring none other than me, myself, that Tom Clancy. But I have something fun for you, if you'll just allow me. Nope, it didn't work. Never mind. I don't have anything fun for you. I lied. I'm mad at myself too. Don't feel bad. Um, next time. Next time. So yeah, abort. New show. Sorry guys, canceled last second. All right. So I just have one quick public service announcement for you guys. Wear your dang masks. Here's why. So Super Mario World at Universal Studios Japan isn't opening right now. Now, I wasn't going to Japan this year or anytime soon, but because some people weren't wearing their masks, I can't go to Super Mario World Land for the foreseeable future. So wear some dang masks. Other than that, guys, I I love you. So, my guest today is what people like to call a cinematographer. Now, I have no idea what that is, but Brian says it's really important and that I should have him on the show. His next film is Cutthroat City, due out sometime this year, Corona willing. Bits and Pixels, please welcome my guest today, Mr. Brandon Cox. Hold on a second. Where is it? There. Why is there? It's all working.
Yes.
Hooray.
Awesome. How are you,
Welcome,
sir?
Brandon.
Thank you very much. I'm glad
Oh,
to be.
wait. Boop. Why is not my camera working? Go where I want it to go. 1 second. Something
Oh,
always goes wrong. What? No. Work, dang you. There we go. I think. 1 sec. Sad marionette happening. Wait, and maybe this works now too. No, it didn't work. Dang. I had a fun thing for everybody, and it didn't work. Oh, well, yeah, amateur production. I know. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for reminding me. But all right, so Brandon Cox, everybody, how's it going?
it's wonderful. How are you? I'm
So,
so glad to be here. Thank you.
oh, no problem, man. Thanks for joining us from a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, and the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
I mean, I really hope that you have a very good wireless plan. Otherwise, I imagine you are paying some pretty nasty roaming charges.
Yeah, it's pretty hefty out here in the galaxy far, far away. The Empire, they charge them. They're like Verizon. They're really bad.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's real bad. So, wow. But yeah, so I've got a bunch of stuff to talk about today.
Okay.
Uh, but first off, and this is kind of a bit of a like personal ignorance, I guess. Uh,
Okay.
what does a cinematographer do? Because
That's
there's like a couple jobs that sound like cinematographer with like that and like director of photography and all that jazz.
well, basically the term cinematographer, director of photography, um, cameraman. It's they're all loosely all basically you're the same thing, and I'm constantly telling people what a cinematographer does, and what they actually do is the best way I could use to describe what a cinematographer does is my cinematography professor at the American Film Institute, which is where I attended, said this best. He said the cinematographer is the gatekeeper of the image. What does that mean? What that means that the cinematographer takes the script that he's given, he then reads the script, and then he has meetings with the production designer, the director, everyone, and you figure out how to turn the words on the page into visuals. And so you have a team of people you work with. You work with the director to get his vision right. You work with the production designer to make sure that the sets work. You work with makeup, costume, and then on under myself, I have what's called a camera team. I have a first assistant, which maintains the camera, keeps everything in focus. I have a second assistant, which is he works with the first assistant, and we have a loader if it's film, a digital loader, which it's digital cameras. Then you have operators, you know, the Steadicam operator. Then you have a gaffer, which takes care of all the lighting, and then you have a key grip, which does all the stands and builds rigs and deals with car rigs. So it's a pretty cool job. I mean, I'm very blessed and lucky to do something that I'm happy doing and I love doing. So that's what a cinematographer does.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, last night I took the time to watch Line of Duty,
Oh, thank
uh, which for all of you back at home is on Amazon Prime right now. It's a fun 90 minutes, and Aaron Eckhart is in it. In fact, there's a fun bit, and I'm not going to get into any spoilers, where we have a shootout between Harvey Dent and Jim Gordon.
you. Yes, that was online a lot. That both that phrase exactly what you just said.
Yeah, I may have been talking with Brian while I was watching the movie, and I was just like, holy shit, Jim Gordon and Harvey Dent are in a gunfight,
Yeah.
and it works. But one of the interesting things in that movie is one of the main characters is like a news vlogger or live streamer.
Yeah.
And she starts the movie with a GoPro on a little gimbal, and then moves to an iPhone on a different gimbal. Um,
Right.
were you for some of those shots? Were you actually using? Well, I mean, the GoPro kind of looked like it because it had that the ultra wide kind of corner thing that you see in GoPros, but the phone footage. Were you also using an iPhone in that instance, or?
We were, yeah. And the funny thing was the in the original script there was a lot more of that footage. We did have a body cam on Aaron, and it just didn't look right. We had it on, but it was so wide and just the volume, the sound was really bad, and it just we didn't like the look of it. It just was too rough looking, so we wanted to stay away from that. We also didn't want to rely on that footage so much because we didn't want it to be like a found footage movie. You know, we really wanted to stick with the narrative, what you're in, the actual movie part, and then you jump out to Ava, which is played by Courtney Eaton. Her iPhone or her little smaller camera, we would do scenes with that, but we didn't want to rely on that. But yeah, we did use enough to give us one of those gimbals and go. And I think the smaller camera wasn't. It was some Chinese, not knockoff, but was another sort of extreme sports camera like a GoPro. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, from the a lot of the external shots of it, it looked a bit like just a GoPro in a what's that company? It does all the skins. D-brand.
yeah.
Yeah, it looked like with like a little carbon fiber skin on it. I was like, oh, they can't have GoPro unless GoPro gave them money.
I
Uh,
think the props department had found that camera, and it was it was we were just that's how it happened. So we just went with it, and we looked at the quality, and it was cool, and we just said, yeah, let's go with it.
yeah, well, I mean, we're at a point now where phones and action cams are taking really good photos and video. I mean, it's not, Ari Alexa or like Red good, but it's really good.
No, they're iPhone, Apple with iPhone, they did a really cool commercial not too long ago, and a big DP used the iPhone. That was the part. It was for iPhone 11, and part of the thing was I think they had David. Oh God, what's his last name? Is forgetting me. The director of Atomic Blonde and Deadpool 2, Lech. I think David Lech. I think his
Yeah.
name is. And he did a commercial with kids doing a snowball fight, and they had Bob Richardson or Bob Ellsworth who shot There Will Be Blood and tons of movies. Great, great DP. And they shot it with the iPhone 11, and it looks really cool.
No, that
Uh,
was a really fun commercial too.
yeah, yeah, it was a really fun commercial. You've seen it, you know the one I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
oh yeah, absolutely.
It,
It looked like every snowball fight we ever had as kids felt.
exactly. And so you look the the technology is like moving so fast. It seems like every year I have to learn a new camera or some new thing that's coming out, some new light because LEDs now are really prominent in lighting because everything used to be um, you know Fresnel lights and very big movie lights, and everything was tungsten based, and then they have
Can
HMI, which are
can I interrupt you there real quick?
please.
Thank you for saying Fresnel correctly.
Oh, not Fresnel.
No, my God, it just gets on my nerves.
Ah,
Because a lot of people don't know this, but my original education, or like original education, my college degree is in theater. And like, I'm not a lighting tech at all, but I know enough to be dangerous and how to pronounce things correctly. And also, it's French. And
Fresnel.
yeah, and it just, especially in the VR world, because they rely so much on Fresnel lenses for helping to direct the light from the screens into the eyeballs and all that stuff. And it's just, you hear people, Fresnel, Fresnel. And I'm just like, that's not how it's said.
We
Brian,
need.
I swear I will find you and I will kill you. I won't actually, but that was my best. It wasn't a Liam Neeson impression, but I was trying to get him across.
I was feeling it.
Yeah.
I went right where you were going.
Hey, rage is a very common emotion for us Americans. So,
Fresnel lens.
it's funny too, just a brief tangent, like the words we do bother to actually correctly pronounce that come from other countries and the words that we don't. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, man, we go out of our way to like say burrito or latte correctly,
Yeah.
but Des
Or
Moines, it's just like, nope, out the window.
my favorite is when you go to I'm not a big Starbucks person. I like coffee bean. And I don't even get coffee. I get like a frappuccino that's pretty much a milkshake. Then
Yeah,
they
man.
put like
Hey, you do you.
I do me. I'm cookies and cream all the way frappuccino, right? When you go into Starbucks, it's oh, can I have a venti or the I'm like, come on, man. Just what are we doing? Just
Look,
say a just say a large, just say a small. What
um,
we're not in Italy. Come on, stop.
as a Starbucks employee,
Okay.
we have to say Starbucks sizes.
I'm I'm sure.
Yeah,
I work at Jamba Juice, so I'm well
yeah,
versed in the corporate, you know, food and beverage service, what you have to do, and I get it. I get it.
yeah. But anyone that tells you they don't speak small, medium, large, or tries to correct you, they're the asshole.
Got it.
Yeah, that's basically it when it comes down to training. But I used to be a black cold brew guy, and I've since switched to the iced Americano.
Gosh it. Oh, hey, I'll try that. The iced America. Ice is good. I
Well, I
like
mean,
ice.
if you, it is going to taste just like coffee. Like it's
Oh,
basically iced coffee.
I mean, that's not bad.
And if you want to dabble with the flavor, that's fine. I'm a black coffee guy. That's just who I am.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
but we were talking about the various lenses and having to pick up new camera systems. Sorry, just the
No,
Fresnel
that's
thing. Yeah.
that's we got off on the Fresnel thing, and we talked about coffee drinks. We're going right back into it. It's just
Oh
perfect. I
yeah,
love.
yeah. And chroma, I swear, it's Fresnel. We pronounce it correctly here in this studio audience.
Damn right, I'm the Tom Clancy.
on, on that Tom Clancy show, we know how to say French words.
It's
Uh,
run.
I mean, in French it would be grand, but I'm sure Brian, our resident Canadian in the audience, is all like, "Oh God, please stop with the Quebecois talk." Uh, but yeah, it is crazy, like how much camera technology is advancing. I mean, even just a few years ago, say mirrorless cameras for the YouTube world were just they were this pipe dream, and now you're looking at it and you see people are all like going all in on mirrorless
Oh
over DSLRs.
heck yeah, man! Sony's made some pretty big advances with their their A7Ss and and Canon. As you said, and it's crazy how literally. I mean, I had some lenses sent to me that I'm testing that when I get back to LA, I have to test them. I can't really. I signed a non-disclosure agreement, so I can't say what they were. But um, once I do put them out, but I mean, there's always something. There's like a new camera here. new piece of equipment here, some new stabilized system, some new drone, some new light. It's always constantly, and that's what, in being a cinematographer comes back to that. You have to be a politician to deal with the politics of the studio and the production and all that, and all the precious egos, all that. You have to be a scientist because you have to know the technology. You have to, understand the technology and know what you're doing. And you also have to be just a good person and just, a humble person. I believe in. I try to just be me and be cool and, friendly to the actors and let them, play in our playground, so I get to capture that. So it's always constantly updating something. And then, that's just all the technical side of things. And then it gets even deeper of once the movie's over, then you get into the post-production world and sitting in a color session and all that. But I don't want to jump ahead because I don't want to mess up where
Oh
we're
no,
going.
I didn't even know that you were involved even after all that, because it's
Oh,
just, yeah, it's, the title is cinematographer, not color correction, ographer, colorist.
colorist. There'd be a
Okay.
colorist, color timer, grader. That's sort of the grade. Color grade is more European. Color timer, a colorist is very American. So, but it's hand in hand. I mean,
So should I color grade this for YouTube?
you should.
Okay. It's kind of friendly, so probably like a warm tone.
Yeah, whatever you want to go with. You want to go with the
Yeah.
decent tone. You want to go with, the poppy Star Wars J.J. Abrams kind of look. We can do that. We can do many things.
Well, I'd probably for this, just based on the pure aesthetic of the show, I'd probably oversaturate a little bit and then just bump up the warm tones to kind of sit with the friendliness of it, and also oversaturate for the cartooniness.
I don't even know why we're having this conversation. You should be at Company 3 right now coloring a movie. I mean, I can call up Stefan Sonnefeld right now. We make this happen.
I mean, hey, we'll talk later. I got some ideas.
Let's go.
No. Have you ever heard of the show called Lost Tapes? It needs a reboot.
No, I haven't.
Oh man, it's this completely insane television show that I absolutely adore. It's a found footage show, and it's on Hulu right now. I
Okay.
don't know if it's like Hulu in other countries, but like for American people, if you have Hulu, look it up. Lost Tapes. You're welcome.
Lost
Um,
Tape. I have
it,
Hulu. I'll check it out.
yeah, I'm probably gonna watch a couple episodes with my wife later on tonight because it's kind of like been our thing. And so it's each episode is a different story, and it's all based around like cryptids. And like, dude, the science on it is suspect as hell, and the performances are terrible. But like, if they just put more time into telling the stories of the random people as opposed to trying to get like experts on to talk about all this stuff, like there's some really solid potential for like, low budget found footage stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I've done two found footage movies.
I
They're
noticed.
tough, man. They're tough. They are tough to make.
Oh, I have no doubt.
I did one about the Phoenix. It's called Phoenix Incident. Not. There's another one that came out a few years ago, which basically I can say they completely ripped off the movie we made. We just didn't have the production power behind. They had a proper studio behind them. They had Ridley Scott behind them, and they literally, if you put the trailers side by side, it's a direct rip off. And basically, what the movie was four friends um, go out into the Arizona desert. They see the Phoenix lights, which were real, and then we concocted a story around that and what happened. And they went missing, and they never came back again. And we basically rode the line between a narrative and a found footage movie and a documentary. So we interviewed real people that witnessed what they saw. It was kind of like there's a movie called Lake Mungo that came out a few years back, Australian found footage horror movie that was really
Mm-hmm.
cool. That rode that line if you didn't know what this was real or not. So it was really cool.
So kind
And
of
so
like almost Blair Witch, except
exactly
modern.
right. It rode that line. So it was fun. It not my greatest camera work in the world because you don't make those things look pretty. You go. I mean, I tried to as much as I could, but they still wanted to. We're always trying to like, you know, degrade the film and make it look more high 8s or more mini DV or whatever the camera was at the time in 1997. So I shot it on like tons of different cameras. It was fun though.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I did a horror movie with the director of The Strangers, Brian Bertino. We did a movie for Blumhouse, which was called Mockingbird, which it got a small release, um, limited release, and then it went straight to video and like Netflix and whatnot. And that
Dude,
was basically,
Blumhouse has been killing it lately.
yeah, they've been doing a lot of crazy stuff. Blumhouse is just, you know, he's the horror go-to guy right now.
Yeah, like him and Shudder
Yeah,
have just
Shutter.
been.
Yeah.
What is it? There's that new one coming out for Shudder that has the Carpenter Brute soundtrack that looks really good, like Blood Machines, I think it is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like it's beautiful, but they didn't show any dialogue or anybody talking, so I suspect that it is just very pretty. Uh,
Right.
but we'll find out. Um, but that's nuts to think that you were really there from like so you're there from the inception of the idea to just about the final edit.
Well, it goes basically, you get the script, you interview, you have to go through that whole process. And then let's say, for instance, we get a script, I get the movie, I'm hired. Then from there, then they give you a period of time to where you go through pre-production and you basically figure out, you go to the location where you're going to shoot, whether it's half on stage or if it's on a actual location, and you go to all those locations. You see where you could, does this location work for this part of it? It's like putting a big giant jigsaw puzzle together or Lego uh,
Yeah,
model, and you're whittling down all these locations because you can go to a location and then the person will say yes, and then you can go there the next week and they're like, oh no, we don't want to do that. So then you're okay. Now we don't have this location, so you got to go, keep going to find all the locations you do have, and then still find that location. And I've been to it where it comes down to the wire where you almost don't get a location. So once you prep the movie, then I have to call the camera people to put together my crew. I have to put together, what lights I'm going to use, what cameras I'm going to use, what lenses I'm going to use, what people we're going to work with, um, and all that. And then once you, and then on top of that, we're having pre-production meetings about how we're going to do things. Um, we're meeting people with the city. Most of the producers take care of that, whatnot. But you're constantly, I'm watching movies with the director. We're finding references that we like, what we want to, how we want to, make the movie. What's our goal? What inspires us? What we want to achieve in this movie visually? What we're trying to do, and yeah. And then once you actually, then you go and shoot the movie, and then that goes for 4 to 5 weeks, and then after that, I'd sort of take a break for a little while, but I'm also in communication with the director, and we're constantly, hey, send me that scene. How's that coming out? Do we need to reshoot anything? And in this case, if you don't, then you take it, and then if you have VFX in the film, they're working and congruent with the editorial, and then once you have all that done, then you get the sound going, and then I come in again, and then I sit down for about a week and a half, and I color the entire movie, and with a colorist, and the director will come in, and I have a really very talented colorist that I've worked with on a few movies, and she's colored some amazing movies, and I'll just mention her name, and Jill Bogdanowicz, and you can look her up on IMDb, and she colored a little movie last year called Joker, so just a tiny little movie. But yeah,
that was the one with the guy, right? The one with
God,
yeah,
I don't remember. Put some makeup on, and
yeah,
dude, the guy was in some Johnny Cash movie, I think, or something. I don't
yeah.
know.
He was very good in 8 millimeter.
Yes, he was. I will. I will say that.
Yeah, I was like, crap. I got to think like as far back. How far back can I go knowing a Joaquin Phoenix movie? And I think that was as far back as I got quickly.
I'll even trump you. The first time I saw Joaquin Phoenix in a movie, there's a movie that came out in the '80s called Space Camp,
Oh,
and
I know
Joaquin
Space Camp.
was the kid. He was a small kid that went up there with him. That was
Um,
Joaquin.
I was really sad to find out that was not what Space Camp was really like. I never went to Space Camp, but
What?
my
How did
sister did.
you didn't get to go sit in a space shuttle to do a test launch? You didn't do that?
No, well, I mean,
Do that.
dude, I didn't even know that Space Camp for adults was really a thing until like a couple years after seeing Stranger Than Fiction, and I looked it up. I was like, holy crap, that's real.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought they just made that up.
We
Um,
joined the Space Force. I mean, there's that.
only if I'm joining Steve Carell and John Malkovich's Space Force.
That's such a good show.
It really is.
It's really
Uh,
good.
we have a question from Brian in chat. How big is your crew, or does it change from movie to movie?
It normally varies depending on the budget, but you're looking at, let's see, let me break it down. It's about somewhere upwards of about 18 to 20 people. So that's with camera, grip, and electric.
That's a sizable crew.
Yeah, yeah. So it's about five in camera, 4 or 5 in camera. There'd be Gaffer, he'll have about 5 or 6 under him. Key grip, 5 or 6 under him. Depending on, you can even have more. You can have 8. Some guys can have 8 under them, depending on the size of the movie. So if you're doing, let's say, you know, like Star Wars, for example, the last Star Wars. I mean, you're gonna have A unit and you're gonna have a B unit, and they're gonna have crew. So I mean, you watch the end of these movies, you watch the credits. I mean, there's armies of crew on these things. So, but basically, it would vary for about 18 to 20 people under me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember my biggest or probably most relevant memory in this instance would be when Sum of All Fears came out in 2002. I got invited to the premiere of that one. No idea why. No idea. Um, and as we're sitting there in the theater, and it's filled with people who worked on the movie from various levels, and they're going through the opening credits, and everybody is like cheering as they see their name, and you're just like, wow, there's really a lot of people here who worked on this movie.
Yeah. And that, and it's good that they, people go to movies and your general public, maybe now, I mean, the audiences are pretty sophisticated, but they don't really care about the key grip and the production designer and the makeup person and the light shader that did the compositing and this and that. They don't care about it. They just want to watch the movie, right? But to the people that work on it, it's important to them, and that's their one chance to, at the crew screening, to clap all the people that worked on the movie, to give them their pat on the back. So why
Yeah.
not?
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, if they do their job well, we're never going to notice,
Exactly.
and it's, I mean, yeah, that kind of like that. Yeah, that sucks. Like, having worked in quality assurance in games, it's like nobody cares. Your name is all the way there at the end of the credits, and everybody's like, "What?" But there is a
Yeah,
level of, you still feel good about it.
I think so. I mean, yeah, you should. You should feel good about it. I mean, I think that's like working in games or whatever it is. I mean, it's just good. But yeah, man, like what you were saying. If they did their job right, you won't notice. It's the same thing. I mean, the worst sort of thing you can hear about a movie is that, wow, man, that movie really looked good, but it wasn't that good. So then I didn't do my job because I didn't tell the story. Because it's not about, again, getting on what a cinematographer does. It's not about, like, yes, it can look good and it could, be polished and look great and all that. But if you're not getting the story across and you're just dazzling people with gorgeous images, then it's just a series of pretty images and there's no story there. So you have to basically gently pick up people for 2.5 hours or 2 hours and then gently put them back down in their seat. And if they forget where they are for 2 hours, then you did your job and they're happy. So that's
Nice.
that's what we're trying to do, man. That's all it is.
Well, just take a moment here for a quick station identification break. Everybody, if you're just joining us, welcome to That Tom Clancy Show. I'm your host, That Tom Clancy. I don't know why I'm talking like I'm trying to sell you something, but this is my wonderful guest, Brandon Cox, cinematographer on such films as the upcoming Cutthroat City, and we were previously speaking of Line of Duty, currently on Amazon Prime. Uh, uh, sometimes I make myself sad.
Hey, that was good, man. That was good. I was like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem, man. It's something that was brought to my attention. It's like I've been doing this now for a couple months. I feel like I've lost track of time in the COVID-19 world. Um, and it's, just trying to constantly learn a little something new and make different mistakes every week. So,
Can you
oh,
talk?
that's the mistake. That's what's going on. Sorry, I just figured out why my camera switching boxes weren't working.
Oh, okay.
I'm working on bringing as many of the controls as possible into this environment with me, so I don't have to have
Dark environment?
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm always going to have the headset on,
Right.
but I want to be able to like control things, just kind of like Minority Report style in here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You like the audience, you can't see my buttons here that I can't presently use, but they're there.
Yeah.
Uh,
They're
and
ready for one of you right now. That's what you want, right?
yeah. And so I try to like a handful of different things. The one that actually works is you might have noticed it, but it's a very subtle tune shader. And
Oh,
I'm very pleased with how that turned out this week.
oh,
Um,
I love tune shading. That's good.
Yes, everything's kind of the colors are a little bit oversaturated a teeny bit, and everything has a nice subtle outline.
Very good.
You know,
Stay
Uh,
with it, man. Keep going. I look. It's a work in progress. You're building to it, and
yeah,
I think it's a cool format. To be awesome. I mean, to be honest with you, I know I've seen a show where you did. Well, this is what I really look like, and you clicked, and I saw you in the
yeah,
goggle and having the paddles on your hands and all that, and then you click back, and it's just so cool. It's just a different way of doing a talk show. So, and when you guys contacted me, I was like, yes.
yeah. Brian has kind of become my unofficial. He's my hype guy. He's reaching out, like I guess, producer almost, because he's reached out to somewhere between probably close to a dozen people,
Okay.
and almost all of them. You're not getting credit for it, Brian. You're not getting credit. Uh,
Thanks, Brian.
we're thanking you, but you're not
Brian,
getting
I
the
mean,
credit.
it was cool. I was no when you guys approached me, I was like super happy to do this. So,
Yeah,
yeah, a
I
lot of
know when I get personal phone numbers and emails, that there is a level of enthusiasm matching mine.
cool. Yeah, I instantly was like, yes, do it. I'll do it. I'm there. So thank you, Brian.
Yeah, Brian is actually responsible for every so far confirmed guest this week.
Brian should be like the hype man in LL Cool J's posse, like in the '80s. So like when LL Cool J was doing hip hop, like was on tour and all that stuff. There was one guy, this huge black guy, who wore like this velour suit, the Kango, and he would hold. He was like Radio Raheem from Do the Right Thing. He would just hold a gigantic boombox and would just sit there and just do this. That's Brian. He's like the facilitator. He makes it happen, but he just sits back and he's chill. I don't know. He's probably going to be like, "What are you talking about?" But I always loved that guy. So I saw LL Cool J and I saw that guy and I was like, "I like that guy. That guy's cool." you know. So
Brian says he's on it.
awesome. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, we'll find a way, Brian. We'll find a way. Um, he'll probably. I'll find a. I actually. I know how I'm gonna do this. I know precisely how I'm gonna do this. Get Brian in as my hype man. It's already up here, guys. Already
Beautiful.
working on it. It's gonna be great. Um, so Line of Duty was that was fun. Like that was
Oh,
a fun movie. I think
thank you.
my
Appreciate that.
personal favorite bit was when Aaron Eckhart, and I forget the actress's name, arrive at the.
Courtney,
I'm sorry,
Courtney Eaton.
Courtney. When Aaron
Yeah.
and Courtney arrive at the passport forgers place.
I'm glad you said that. I was hoping you were going to say that. Yeah, that was a fun scene.
It
That was a
really was. And spoiler, there's a fight. And the opening move of the fight is the forger taking Aaron Eckhart through a wall. And just the way that you managed to have that perfect like 90-degree tilt down with them
Yeah,
to the ground. Like I just thought that was just a spectacular shot, and I just loved the hell out of it.
thank you, thank you.
So
But
yeah, because
I can think how we did it if you want to know. I mean,
how did you do it? I do want to know.
okay. So I had three cameras on it, right? So basically, the shot that you see where it goes through and the camera does that, you basically, I was on a dolly
Hmm.
and I was on a mode to where it was like medium. It was leveled up with them, and then there was two things that had to happen. The dolly had to move with them at the same time, and then it had to boom down on an arm because we knew Aaron was going to fall with the guy, and then I had to then I took the tripod and put it on its side, like instead of going this way, I had to have it go this way. And then I take the plate, if the camera's facing in this direction, I take the plate and spin it so it's going this way. So then basically when I pan or when I tilt the camera down, it does that. But you have to time it right because you could miss it because those
Yeah.
guys are moving pretty fast. And so we did 3, 2, 1, practice it, and we got it on the first take. And that was the one they ended up using because I had a camera in the other room seeing him bust through. We had another camera loose on handheld that we could see other stuff, but they ended up going with mine, the main camera. So we just went right through the wall. They obviously doctored up the wall so we could bust through it.
Yeah.
And then the stunt guy, who was the actual passport forger, is a stunt man, and he was dared to do this role by his friends, which are our stunt coordinator, and he's fantastic. And he's doubled for Dave Bautista. He's doubled for I think the really large guy that's in Black Panther. The actor's name escaped me.
Oh, yeah, I
He was
know who you're talking about. I love that guy.
his name has escaped me. I feel so bad for not remembering it, but he was the main. He was the father in Us,
Yeah,
the,
Brian,
the Jordan Peele movie. But he's
you're
a
on top of that. Brian
but
will get us that name in just a moment.
yeah, he doubles for that
Wink.
actor, and
Um,
yeah, and so he came in and did a phenomenal job, and we were originally trying to get Terry Crews for that role, but he was busy on something. He was wanted to do it, but he was just busy because
I'm
it would
glad
have
you
been,
didn't though.
yeah, because it seems like it was very like, oh, he's kind of been there, done that already.
Well, it's
But
just it feels like I because it takes this very memorable character and gives it to somebody that we otherwise wouldn't really have known about. Like kind of like, giving say Luke Skywalker to Mark Hamill. Like, yeah, could they have given that to a more famous actor at the time?
sure,
Yeah, they could have. But we remember it because it's Mark,
correct,
you know.
and it worked. And I mean, now seeing the movie and now shooting it, I wouldn't want it to be anybody else. And
Yeah.
Aaron got along with them great, but that was a fun sequence, and I think we shot that whole sequence in a day.
Wow.
And it was like an abandoned sort of warehouse. We shot the movie in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah,
Um,
I was wondering that last night, and I was like, I know this isn't Canada, but it's doing a great job of looking like Canada.
yeah, we just wanted it to be any town America, right, or any city America. We didn't want to say, okay, it's Birmingham, Alabama. We liked Birmingham for the cityscape. We liked it. They had a tax rebate, which helped us, and just I love they had really cool bridges. They had really cool streets. The city was really interesting, and it worked for what we needed to do. So that's why we went there, and I really thought it was I'd shoot another movie there. It was the town was really great. The nightlife was good. They had great bars, great food, and they've shot some other movies there since, and I hope we get to go back there. But it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah,
I will say, Aaron strikes me as a very nice guy.
he is. The one thing that I love about the director I work with, who we should mention his name, Stephen C. Miller. I've done 6 films with Stephen. That was our 6th film. And Stephen and I, the moment we met, we were just, we were simpatico. It worked. We saw things the same aesthetic, same filmmakers we love, same type of movies we like. And so we have this really great rapport on set where we're known for doing crazy amount of setups and working really fast. And Steven likes to include me a lot of things. And in this instance, Aaron went to go train. Even though he didn't have a lot of gun work in the movie, I think he touches gun 3 times, and and it wasn't like John Wick or anything like that. But
No.
Aaron's one of those people. If he does something, he wants to do it and look real. That's how serious of a commitment he wants to do, and he wants to make the police force look good. Which, in this day and age, obviously we know what's going on. But I won't go near there. But
He played the cop we all want to believe in.
exactly. He played the cop. That's a good cop,
Yeah.
and he justice to that. So he did ride-alongs with the police. He worked out with the SWAT team, and then it came time to Steven. He said, "Hey, do you want to go watch Aaron come out to this range and watch Aaron shoot?" I said, "Sure." So we went up at Semi Valley, and we went to Terran Tactical, and Terran trained Keanu Reeves for John Wick. So when you see those videos on YouTube where Keanu's out in some weird place and he's shooting all those things, and that's where we went. And I'll share.
I want to go there.
I have Terran's number. We can go there if you ever come out to LA. We'll go.
Yeah, I can find an excuse to go to Los Angeles.
Yeah. When all this COVID nonsense.
I mean, yeah. So in 2025, I can come up with a reason to come to Los Angeles.
Yeah, when it's a cure or a vaccine, we'll be okay. But anyway, so Steven's like, "Come out, meet Aaron. I want you to meet Aaron." So I came out. We met Aaron. It was instantly. I knew this guy was going to be cool, and he's just. I love how serious he is. He's serious about his work, but not as serious as like you can't talk to him or he's in a process or whatever. He's fantastic.
He
And
strikes me. Yeah, he strikes me as the kind of guy who genuinely just loves what he does.
He does.
And you can see it in his work. Like, if you look at, say, The Core, which is by no standards a great movie.
Right.
But Aaron never, dials it in. Like,
He never phones it in.
No, he's there, and he's having fun day in and day out.
Yeah, he's one of the best things about The Core. Like, he has a whole monologue towards the end of the movie, which is just like, wow. You're just like, this guy is not phoning this in. This guy is all in. And the same thing when I had friends that worked on Battle of Los Angeles.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that was a cool movie. It didn't really do or perform the way he would say he wanted it to be, but I mean, he broke his arm doing that movie. He did some stuff in that movie. It's just, and Aaron's that guy. He wants to well, can I do the driving? Can I do the thing? Can I talk about it? We're like, Aaron, come on, dude. No, we have people for that.
Was he driving when they flipped the Fiat though?
No, he did not. We had a stunt driver flip the Fiat, but he was in it when it rolls. And what we did there was Steven took a half shell of a Fiat and we cut off the back end. We made a hamster wheel around it. The special effects department, which was incredible on that, they built this roll cage around that. And then I mounted the camera in the back and on each side. So when we roll, it's rolling. It's very much like the Inception.
Just on a smaller scale.
It's just on a smaller scale. And so we put rubber glass in there so it looks like the glass is going and all this. And it Steven doesn't like to do a lot of green screen or composition. Like when we do car stuff, we mount the cameras on the cars. We want to be in the car. We don't sit in the studio and do green screen. In this case, we had what's called a pod car. We had three or four Fiats. One was just to beat up. One was just, for driving and free driving and beat up and roll and all that. And another one was a camera car that basically any of the dialogue or the driving that they're doing, the actors can drive, but really the person that's driving the car is on the roof of the car, and it's all rigged up, and you see this guy's driving on top of the car.
Mr. Bean style.
Mr. Bean style, and you don't see that, but he's a stunt driver, and it just gives, and it puts the audience in a place to where, oh, wow, we're really in there. They're really driving. They're not doing a green screen. And Steven and I like that immediacy. We like that, that we're very Chris Nolan about it. We want to try to do it in camera, everything in camera to make it feel real for the audience. Because there's nothing worse than seeing people just do this and there's green screen going by. You can clearly see it's a green screen.
Yeah.
And they've made advances in that. Now they have LED backgrounds and they can do all the lighting and all that, which is cool, but it still doesn't have the same. So Aaron did some of the driving of the GTO, though. When he gets the GTO, he did that out. He did some really, because he wanted to.
Dude, everybody wants to do a burnout in the GTO.
Of course. And funny enough, the first time he did it, I was filming. Let's see, I was in the back seat, strapped in, and I'm filming over his shoulder. So we're seeing what's called a French over. That's what they call it. French overs when you shoot over, crossover, and you're behind them. And I don't know why it's called a French over. I have to find out.
Probably because a French cameraman did it or something.
And it's a French over. Yeah. There
Yeah,
you go.
just taking a random guess, because French cinema, especially in the early days, was very experimental.
Yes. Verite, as they like to say. They started that whole crazy handheld movement, and
Yeah.
it was, good. God bless them, man. I mean, it's alive and well, still going. But to what I was saying was, so Aaron was going to do a burnout. Courtney's in the front seat. Aaron's in the driver's seat. I'm in the back. There's another camera mounted, I think, across the passenger seat, and I think one in the front. So we got 3 cameras going. He rips ass and just, and I use both my eyes, right? But when I use my left eye, it's like this, and then this eye's I can't see. So when you go like this, at least the camera, the diopter's here and I can see, so I have a frame of reference of where I'm going. But I was using my left eye, and what happened was I got motion sickness.
Oh no!
Super hot that day in Alabama in the South,
God.
I had a good, oatmeal breakfast, and so
I see where this is going.
Cox, you're right. That's my nickname. Everybody calls me B Cox. I'm like, yeah, hold on. Can you just get out for a second? Because they had to redo something. Or I get out. I say, give me some water. I just walk over across the street and just. It's like, oh my God, Brandon, you okay? I'm like, no, let's go. Let's go for another one. And then use my right eye. Then I could see, and then everything was fine. So it was good. And Aaron felt bad. I was like, dude, don't feel bad. That's a great story. I can tell that someday.
Yeah, so. I mean, Aaron, you absolutely shouldn't feel bad. I know you're very likely never going to see this, but just in case you do, you were doing your job excellently. He was doing his job excellently. And that's just what happens when everybody does excellent.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, Aaron, the first day, I mean, he was working out and getting in shape, and he was doing the gun thing at Terran and tactical, and then he would go to the range and all that. But when he got the first day, he didn't realize how much he was going to be running. Like, I mean, you saw the movie, right? I mean, he's running a lot.
The only person who runs more than Aaron in that movie is Tom Cruise in any movie he's in.
Yes, with a broken ankle.
Yeah. Well, he's running down the Burj Khalifa, so
Exactly. I mean, he's running down the Burj. He's running in France in part 6. He's running a lot, So Aaron's running a lot, and after day 1, he was the vest was out to here, and then by the 3rd or 4th day, he had lost so much water weight and just it started to get more snug. He was like, "Whoa, I got to go twice now." And the great thing about Aaron, in between takes, and I have videos of this I've posted, but I'll send you a whole bunch of stuff. In between takes, Aaron had this metal, he'd keep cool, like he'd keep like Gatorade in there, water, and just to keep hydrated. And he'd hold that, and he would go jog around the set, and then he'd wait for us to say, "Okay, Aaron, we're ready for you." And then he'd come back, and he'd be ready to go. He just always wanted to keep that energy up,
Nice.
And not to mention just an incredible human being and just such a dedicated actor and a really nice guy. And we're friends to this day still. I mean, we talk online and I'm always trying to find another excuse to work with him. So we've been trying to I'm currently in the process of writing something for him that I want to do really badly, but I got to finish it. But he's an incredible guy, so I want to work with him again.
Well, if next time you talk to him, tell him I'm a big fan.
100% I will.
And yeah, because I love watching that guy. It's just when you see people, like a good modern example is like John Boyega, right? Yeah. Like John Boyega just looks so happy to be in front of a camera, no matter what movie he's in.
You can tell. I mean, because I think what he's doing is he's doing something he loves, and it's not work to him. He's having how lucky are we to do what we do? I mean, you're hosting a show, and you get to interview your friends and people that work in the industry, and just it's fun. It's a fun format thing, and I'm shooting movies. I mean, you got to pinch yourself and just say, God, I'm blessed to do this because, you know, I could be working a corporate office job. I could be doing whatever. And not to say
Not that
that,
there's anything wrong with any of that.
and people are happy doing it, but some people are miserable what they do, and they just have to do what they need to do to make ends meet. And I'm very fortunate. I went to school for this, and it was a dream. I followed it. I had, you know, I knew nobody in the film business, and it just, I was lucky, and it was a lot of the right place at the right time, and it's fun stuff, man. And so it's not a job to me. I do it for free, man. It's nice that they pay me, but I love what I do. So
I'd love to be paid to do this, just saying. But
it's gonna
um
happen, man. It's just, you
yeah.
know,
Oh no, like I mean, it's the grind, and you know, it's as you said, it's you know, it's not work. Like I mean, yeah, there are days where it's grindier than other days, but you know, I'm building towards this fun show where I get to sit down and talk with people who do things that I think are awesome.
yeah,
And you know, it's like as you were saying earlier, it's like, you know, with the exception of like Brian and a few other people, you know, who knows different cinematographers or DPs and all this stuff. So I mean, like, you know, I feel like, you know, I get this opportunity to talk to you and learn about something I don't know about, and then I feel good too because I'm helping my audience hopefully learn some things that they don't know about.
yeah.
You know, and it's just like this big, you know, like, for lack of a better term, it's like this big kumbaya circle of just like having fun, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, that's what you know, that's what it should be. And I've met so many interesting people. I mean, just look how we've connected on this and how this has come about. I mean, this is cool, you know, and I'm so fortunate and lucky to have this, that to meet you, and I, you know, I'm not gonna just be like, okay, peace out, man. No, I mean, we've been talking offline and stuff, and just I you know, I was, you know, I want to help any way I can. So it's like, I know other people in the industry. If you want to try to interview an actor here or there, and I can sort of facilitate that, I'd love to. So I mean, I just think
we'll
it'd be
uh
fun.
we'll talk later.
I guess we sorry to do that online, but hey,
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, there's things we can talk about like that just aren't really show appropriate. Like, I mean, not saying that talking about potential guests in the future isn't show appropriate, but there are times for that, and there are times for, you know, all that stuff. But there's one last thing on camera stuff that I want to ask you about.
sure.
Can you teach me how to pull focus like a champ?
I'm not that good at it. I'm okay at it.
I mean,
Uh,
I've
I
never
focus.
even touched a cinema lens before, so
Oh, what? Oh, we're gonna remedy that.
look,
I'm like, we're gonna remedy that.
I have a Canon Rebel and an A6400 that
When
uh
you come to LA, I'm taking you to Panavision. It's done.
okay.
And
All
you're
right.
going to hold an anamorphic lens, and I will have them find a lens from Red October or something like that, and you'll hold it.
Oh,
I will do that.
you know, speaking of Red October, when you were talking about practical effects,
Mm-hmm.
uh, when I was a kid, I told you about this earlier, but I got the distinct privilege of getting to go on the set of Red October. Uh, and you know, I met Sean Connery, I met Alec Baldwin, but while we're waiting for all this, they were shooting the scene where Sean Connery has been shot, and he's giving Alec Baldwin the gun to go find the cook.
This
Uh,
area react well to bullets. That
yeah,
scene.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so we're waiting for this. We're waiting for all this on the set for I forget which bridge it was, but one, I think it was the Red October bridge set.
Okay.
Which, speaking of practical effects, they had a lot of diving and turning and all that stuff. They built the whole set
Oh,
on hydraulics.
it's
Yeah,
incredible, man.
so they could when they're diving, the actors are leaning back, you know,
Yeah.
because yeah, and it was just, you know, and like all of the flips and switches, like actually flipped and switched, and of course I'm like touching everything because I'm a little kid,
Hey,
you know. Yeah,
buttons.
exactly, because I was
Like,
like 6 or 7 years old at the time, so hell yeah, I'm touching everything that the person is telling it, not yelling at me not to touch, you know, and just
like,
yeah.
don't touch hyperdrive up here, right? I think it's up here somewhere.
I was like, all right, and then I grab, and then you pull back. Uh, God, dude, I want to go to the Disney, the Star Wars Disney stuff to sit in the Falcons so bad.
I haven't been yet. I've heard it's incredible, and I
Like,
heard you touch all of the stuff.
I know and I want to.
I want to build a lightsaber too. I mean, we can geek out on that a lot, but going back to what you're saying, that's incredible,
Yeah,
and that goes to show you like John McTiernan, his attention to detail and wanting to get it right. I mean, I heard a story that the production designer did such a good job of recreating a Los Angeles class submarine that they had to have the military come in and say, nope, change that, don't do that, don't do that. Russia can't see this, or people can't see this. They have make it look more movie-like or something. That's a rumor I heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I'm
if it,
not. I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not, but
go
let
ahead.
me just say that rings true.
Good. That's all I want.
Um, and it's nuts too. Like, just brief aside, like, holy crap, that movie did come out while the Cold War was still a thing.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's what 90 or 91 somewhere
Yeah,
in there.
I think
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it was 90.
Yeah.
You know,
That makes like let's see. I'm trying to think of was he went Die Hard, Predator, Hunt for Red October. So that was what 86, 88. Yeah, that's about yeah. I think that's about right. So I'm trying to remember all
dude,
the date.
I
I
love
can remember
McTiernan.
the movie was out. That's how my stupid brain works.
Don't worry, my stupid brain works similarly, but for like uh, all sorts of crazy stuff. Um, and Wildstorm, thank you so much for joining us today. Don't worry about lurking. Just hey, I'm just happy you're here. That's basically how it works out. Like, yeah, I'm just happy I have an audience. I mean, I'd still be doing this talking into the ether. I don't care because, as we said earlier, I just like doing this. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, uh, a friend of mine was trying to help me find a job a while back, and they were all like, "Well, what are you good at?" And I'm like, "I'm good at talking." And they were all
That's
like, "Well, how do we get you to make money on that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So, Victor, thank you so much for being here. Victor Lerp is big guy, air quotes, at Epic, the people that make Unreal Engine, the software I use for all
oh,
this. And
very cool.
yeah, he's one of the community guys for that. And he's been off and on kind of helping me and like being like a sounding board for ideas and stuff on the show. And I I have hands and they kind of work, Victor. I'm number one. But he's a wonderful dude. We played Rust once. He wants me to play more. I don't know if it'll happen, but who knows what the future holds, Victor.
It holds, Victor.
Yeah.
And that's the one cool, like you mentioned, Unreal Engine. That's something, just that type of filmmaking. That's something I want to get into, is using Unreal Engine and that whole camera system and how they're doing things. And that's super exciting stuff. I mean, that's just cutting edge, really cool stuff that they're, uh, Hollywood is slowly getting into that realm. I mean, I know they did those Love, Death, and Robots short films on Netflix. A lot of them were used with Unreal Engine, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I
Well,
know
and
they're
then
doing
there's also The Mandalorian, which kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? They kind of pioneered the whole LED wall thing.
it, which, and I've met the company that does that stuff, and it's absolutely incredible. I mean, that stuff is just, I mean, I saw it on a very basic level. Basic meaning, I mean, this it's highly advanced technology, but I saw the sort of, hey, here's the dog and pony show. Disney is doing it on just a gigantic scale with the Mandalorian. I mean, they have rooms, which I don't know if you saw that making of thing on Disney Plus on
I
how they do this.
watched the first couple episodes because those things are giant. They're like Jumbotron sized.
They're huge, and just the one it takes. I think it takes something upwards to build that room. It was something upwards of like 3 or 4 weeks just to put there, and then they got to get everything to work right and the light to interact, and then they have to have the backgrounds to do it, and then you have to have the sets, the foreground sets that interact with the background. It's a to do, but man, it is gorgeous, and I love the fact that it's in camera
Yeah.
and it's in camera and it's movie magic, but it's in camera and it looks incredible. And it's funny, Steven and I are trying to work on a film where we're going to use that technology. There is a said video game with a large soldier with a machine gun that fights aliens that I won't let you figure out what that is. And there's a actor that I've worked with that's a large man that used to wrestle that looks a lot like the main character, but we're trying to make that happen. We'll see if we can, but there's a lot of red tape, but hopefully
You know,
that's
there were a few franchises that could have happened there. And until you mentioned the wrestler, it took a moment. But
you know who it is.
yeah, no, I know now. But Victor does say that those monitors for the Mandalorian are bigger than jumbotrons.
Oh, they are huge, man.
Oh man, and it's just, if you had told me that before they showed how all that was shot, that the fight with the Trandoshans in that like little like canyon,
Oh,
if
I
you had told me that that
they
wasn't
were.
shot somewhere in the Southwest, I'd have like said you're an idiot, because that's
I,
so clearly real.
I was so like, oh man, wow, they actually went some really cool location stuff. Oh,
Right?
this is cool stuff. And I knew they were using that technology. I knew it was around, and I knew they were using it in certain places, but I didn't know to the extent of how much they were using it. And when I saw the making of, and then I know Gina Carano really well. I've done a few movies with Gina, and I've been texting her off and on about. She's like, I can't say anything, but I'm doing this, you know.
Yo,
But
she was so good in that.
she's amazing in that, and couldn't be proud of her because I've seen her as an actress sort of progress, and since when I've worked with her back in 2014 into 2015, and then we've remained friends, and I've just seen that sort of, because she's an MMA fighter and she wasn't a professional actor, and she wants to do well, and she's trying hard, she's doing her thing, and man, she is so good in that show,
Yeah,
and like.
she's come a long way from the American Gladiators reboot.
Exactly. And like, my cousin, she knows I work with her. She's like, oh my God, she's my favorite character on the show. And I love her. And she's such a badass. And I was like, yeah, she's awesome. But going back to your point, I mean, the amount of just like realism in those screens and what they can do. And they're actually lighting the set sometimes and lighting the actors. That's incredible. And
Yeah.
how quick you can switch sets and use the light source. I mean, it's so cool. I sat there, and they said, "Oh, hey, well, where do you want to put the camera?" And it was this desert set. I said, "Well, let's put it over there." And then they just move over to there. And then where do you want to be, on top of that rock or over here? Oh, we'll shift it this way. And then what time of day do you want it? I don't know. Let's do morning, and then move the sun over here, and so everything's coming that way. And then they have other lights that interact with the LED screens. Like, oh, let's do sunset. Okay, and then it moves over here, and then the color changes. I mean, it's such cutting edge technology and such fun technology that it just like it's going to change a lot of things. And I just love the fact that it's in camera. That's
Yeah.
what's so good about it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's probably going to piss off the CGI world, but it I don't think so. I mean, it probably makes their job easier, for
Well,
what they have to do. So
I mean, I imagine they're still there. Uh, they're still there because somebody has to build those environments.
yeah.
Somebody still has to build the exterior shots. I mean, like, you think those X-Wings are going to animate themselves?
No, no,
Uh,
they're not.
and you probably know this already, but a fun bit of trivia is one of those X-Wing pilots is Dave Filoni.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He's the director.
And
That's
the
right.
other one was, I forget her name, but she's the not Bryce Dallas Howard lady director from The
It's the
Mandalorian as well.
the Asian director.
I know, and it's killing me too right now.
And I think Rick, the other one, the African American director, he's one of them too. I think they put three of the directors in there. That was a nice little
And that was the episode he directed too.
yeah, which was pretty cool. I mean, he put him in there, and I love how Taika Waititi also did the voice of the T-88, and then he's also the director of one. I mean, he's such a fun director.
Dude, like, if I got a phone call right now from Taika saying,
Deborah, there you go.
yeah, Deborah Chow, thank you, Brian. But if Taika called me right now and said, Tom, be in a movie with me, I'd be
I
like,
wouldn't. I'd say whatever you want to do. Let's
He
do
wouldn't even have hung up the phone. I'd already be there, and I'd be like, Taika, I've been waiting all my life for you to say that.
it. He's a must need filmmaker that I'm so glad he's making movies
Yeah,
because he made Thor such a fun movie to watch.
he
Like,
did. I didn't even know I needed that movie until it was out. Like, I thought Marvel movies were already fun, and then we get Ragnarok, which is just a party.
it's a party, and not that anybody cares. The Incredible Hulk is my favorite Marvel superhero. I thought I was the Incredible Hulk when I was 4. I'll say, I'll save that story for another time. But
When we have you on when Cutthroat City finally comes out.
we'll see. Yeah, if it does come out, it's supposed to come out July 17th. We'll see. That's my shameless plug. But AMC is one of the theaters, and now that I keep seeing that other states are, pulling back, and maybe we have to go back into quarantine, it may move like how Tenet has moved a few times. So I'm fine with it. I mean, there was one point that I was just, I only have so much. I don't have really a say in when they release it. I can only be in RZA's ear and say, hey man, maybe we should do this or that. But
Yo, that movie looks good.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I was hoping that they put it on Netflix or Amazon. It's like, gosh, when in this day and age, when would you want a movie to be on a streaming service rather than the movie theater?
I mean, it's nuts.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's although I like what Universal was trying with the on demand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I feel like there's definitely room for that to move forward, but
I think so too.
yeah, based on the trailer though, one, I think the movie just looks good. Like it's like that's I imagine when you guys started production on that movie, you were not planning on it being as relevant as it looks like it's going to be.
No, not at all. I mean, it was relevant in the fact that, there needed to be a microscope put under the lower ninth ward for what it's gone through over the past, I don't know how many years it's been now, almost 15 years since
Jesus,
Katrina.
yeah, like 2006.
2005, 2006, somewhere in there. I think it was 2006. Yeah. So 19 years or 14 years.
Yeah,
But the fact that
we're creatives, we don't do math.
yeah, no, I screwed that up. uh, but the fact that there's people that still don't have any running water or electricity, and that no businesses have come back to that area because they figure, oh well, it's the ghetto of New Orleans. What do we need to come here for? It's sad, but we were just trying to put a microscope under that and just show them what these kids are going through. Now that what's going on with the whole, the
Yeah.
George Floyd Black Lives Matter movement, it is really relevant, and it's I don't want to use that as a springboard for people to go see the movie. I just want people to go see the movie
Yeah.
and sort of make their own, opinions about it. But it's crazy how, where we are right now in the world and how relevant this is. So, that's a kind of a blessing in disguise, but it also just shows you with the times that we live in, I guess. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that people do, venture out to go to the cinema and go see it when it does come out. Right now, like I said, it's slated to come out July 17th. That could change, and that was released Friday. So that announcement was released last week. So hopefully it stays. Things change. I don't know, but if I know more, I'll let you know.
Cool. But yeah, I mean, the main thing is just don't debut it on Fortnite.
No.
Don't get me wrong though, that's actually really cool that they're experimenting with the Fortnite movie theater thing, but yeah, but yeah.
I mean, drive theaters are becoming a thing again, which
Yeah,
is crazy, which I think is awesome actually.
everything old is new again.
I've never been to a drive-through in my life. And so for me, there's one out where my Steven lives out near Rancho Cucamonga in California. And he was like, yeah, man, you should come out, come watch a movie. So I'm going to probably do that and have the drive-in experience, open up the trunk uh, of my car and just sit in the back and watch a movie. It'd be kind of fun.
Cool.
social distance.
Yeah, man. 2020 sucks.
It does. Look. I thought I was going to be doing a series possibly or another film, and what are you going to do, man? I had a really bad year last year because I broke my ankle, and it took me out of work for quite some time. And I slowly came back, and I was really like, all right, 2019, you've been real, but it's time to move on. 2020, here we come. I was so jazzed. I think a lot of people were. And then
And then
COVID
2020 showed up.
2020 showed up, and then COVID-19, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife and I celebrated our wedding anniversary on the 29th of February,
Yeah,
and we managed to get that trip in right before everything shut down.
yeah.
So,
I just finished a film actually. I had a really short, quick film with Bruce Willis, a science fiction movie I was doing, um, called Cosmic Sin, and literally the day before, which was March the 14th, I think they announced, we're putting down the shutdown, and then the 15th was my birthday, was our last day, and then I had to go back and then wear the mask, do all this stuff, and the quarantine began, and yeah, I just want it to stop. I want to get back to work, but
and it all can if everybody out there continues to wear their masks
yes, and sanitize and wash your hands
and
and
social distancing.
distance.
Yeah,
Exactly.
slight
Exactly.
frowny face. No.
Hmm.
Oh no, my left hand has died. Um,
No.
no, not my left
Yes.
hand.
Now you're like this.
Uh, yeah, well,
My.
now it's just gone because when the battery dies in the tracker, it just disappears.
Oh
Like,
no.
all right. Well, that probably tells me that it should be just about time for the 5 questions.
Ooh, here we go.
All right. So, for everybody in the audience who might not know about this, the 5 questions are 5 questions that I have come up with before the show that have pretty much nothing to do with anything that we've talked about before and are just all for fun. I will only secretly judge them unless their answer is really bad, at which point I will, shame them for it publicly. So, question number 1: how would you shoot my show as a horror movie?
Oh. Hmm. As a horror movie. Let's see. Well, we'd make. I think I would change the lighting a little bit. Maybe even
Okay.
change the. Make it a little more darker, a more moody, and we would probably. I don't know. We'd have to figure out a way to have a sense of urgency in the way it's shot, so that we could get a jump scare here and there, or the threat of whatever the horror threat is, we don't see it until we wait until just a little bit. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I mean, I would definitely have to have a sense of urgency, because urgency in horror movie, I think, is so important,
All right.
because you want people, what's that? What's behind the corner? What's that? So there you go.
Infect the
Definitely.
host with a virus. No, Victor. No.
In fact,
No viruses.
no vector, no vector, no virus, no virus.
You're about to become Vector, not Victor. But
Vector.
yeah, no, that's computer fire. Okay, okay. That's
Yeah.
fair. That's better. You're skating on thin ice. Nah,
Well, you
you're
get
fine.
into a supercomputer, and then your suit illuminates, and you have a disk that has all your information on it. That horror movie, it's a sub whole horror movie.
The Gibson hacked me.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're lucky I only have one hand. I'm shaking this other one at you. No.
Oh no.
Question number 2.
Yes.
What are the odds of successfully navigating an asteroid field?
Don't ever tell me the odds.
And that's absolutely the correct answer. But I had that question written out on Saturday, and
Well,
then
three
you show up.
something though. I do. God, it's like the odds of navigating the minefield are like oh God, I don't even know how many
Yeah,
million.
they're stupid because you know what the odds of
I
actually
think,
successfully
I think
navigating an asteroid field are? Perfect.
yeah, perfect, right. But I mean, I know Solo. I know he says never tell me the odds. That's all I
Yeah,
remember.
no, and that's absolutely the correct answer. I also would have accepted, good, or anything that implies that you're going to make it through.
Oh, we're gonna make it through.
Yeah, question number 3.
Yeah.
Which director, living or dead, would you most want to work with?
Oh wow. Um, living or dead. Uh, I would have to say Tony Scott. He's dead, but I would have loved to have worked with him. I
Yeah,
loved his movies. I loved everything about his work. I'm a huge fan, as is Steven, the director I work with. We love Tony Scott. He's a huge influence on the way I shoot. Yeah, Tony Scott.
I knew the moment you said that Brian was going to be very happy with that answer, and he was. Brian is also a huge fan of Tony Scott.
I wanted to say I was thinking Kubrick, but Kubrick really shot his own movies. So you're if you're a DP on that, you're just a
You're
glorified
along for the ride.
you're a gaffer at that point, because Kubrick was such a master at cinema. I mean, the guy was an auteur. He could write, direct, shoot, edit. He had control of everything. And I know David Fincher and many others like to think they're Kubrick, but nobody. There's only one Kubrick.
No,
And
there is, but Fincher is on my would be on my list because dude, I love that guy.
oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Fincher. I would
Yeah,
love to work with Fincher, and just I love how much he is so on hands with everything. And I love that he knows. I mean, Fincher could be a DP. That's smart. He is an auteur, man. The guy can do everything. He understands visual effects. He understands editing. He understands cinematography. He understands filmmaking. He understands actors. He gets it. He knows how to make a movie, and he knows how to make a damn good movie. So yeah, he's the backup, I guess. I'd say Tony Scott number one, David Fincher number two.
all right, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I was like expecting like Spielberg or something like that because it seems like the kind of answer that like everybody would kind of give. Like, oh man, I'd love to work with Spielberg or Lucas or Coppola. But like, yeah,
Yeah, Tony Scott's my man, dude. That guy made some great movies.
I can get behind that. Question number 4. The sky, unfortunately, can no longer be blue, and you are the person who is in charge of selecting the new color. What is it?
I think it would make it always golden hour, magic hour. It's the color of the sky right before the sun's going over the horizon. So it's that orange, gold, beautiful, just every color of a beautiful sunset, orange, red, gold, fuchsia, blue, all of these things. Always have it like at sunset. I don't know what color that would be. Sunset color,
That's
right?
fine. That's nobody is judging these answers except for me, and I'm going to allow it.
All right. So I'm just gonna say magic hour color, because that's what that time is called when we shoot, magic hour.
Nice. All right, and then the final question, number 5. Thankfully, I still have a hand to do that.
Yes.
What is the best thing about being a Marylander?
You know what? Um, I don't have an act. I everybody always asks me where I'm from, and I made it a point to, when I moved to the South, to not pick up a Southern accent. My brothers, my mother, and my father all live in North Carolina now, and they all have Southern accents. And my dad used to have a really strong Maryland accent, on gas, all that.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, that like the Howard, Baltimore County area accent.
that stuff. But I just, man, Maryland's just like, I I don't know. There's something about the smell of the air in fall, the the crisp, winter mornings. It's hot in the summer, but there's just something that's just, I don't know. It's always in your heart, right? Even though if you go away from it, and I live in Los Angeles now, Maryland's still here. And I love going back to that state, and I love the people there, and the food's great. I mean that I don't know how to put it any clearer than that, Tom. I mean, as a
No,
Maryland,
that's
you know,
I do. I do. We were talking before the show, but another great thing is we have the best flag.
we do. You know what's funny? I was talking about that today with my dad. My dad, when he was in Vietnam, received a Maryland flag from the then governor of Maryland, who I don't remember who the governor of Maryland was in 1968. But my dad wrote him a letter and he sent him a flag. And
Nice.
we were talking about the flag, and it was so funny. But I was just my dad has a keychain that has a Maryland flag on. I said, that flag's really cool. I love the colors of that. And he was like, yeah, And then he told me that story, and he said, I have that flag somewhere, but yeah, it does have a really cool flag.
Yeah, we're the only state that flies nightly heraldry.
Yeah, it has the cross on it,
Yeah, well, we still fly the colors of Lord Baltimore, our original patron.
there we go.
Uh,
I'll take that any day.
yeah, it's pretty great. If you haven't no idea what the Maryland flag looks like, I highly recommend you Google it. And otherwise, if you're ever around me, it's on my upper left arm.
Yes.
I've had people stop me, and they're all like, "Is that a Maryland flag tattoo?" And I'm like, "Why, yes, it is." And it's always fun, because then it's like you see other Marylanders around. You're just like, no matter where you are, you're like, we have that shared kind of bond.
Yes, yeah,
Of
we do, man.
it's the salt of the Chesapeake runs through all our veins, and there ain't no getting it out.
No way. It's not happening. I may have to get a Maryland tattoo.
Yeah, I
A
mean,
flag.
I'd get another one if I didn't already have a really good one. But I still, dude, I still don't even have a Star Wars tattoo yet, which is really unfortunate. But
I've seen some good ones, man.
I
It,
have too, and it's like, but the question then becomes, it's like so much of Star Wars is iconic. Like, what do you get?
I knew a makeup artist that literally has the Hoth battle scene. She has an AT-AT with a speeder and like an ATST and like a ton. She's like the whole Hoth battle
Yeah.
scene on her arm, and it's incredible. I was like,
Damn.
whoa, hold on, we have to admire this, and we did. It was great.
Damn. That's cool.
It's
Oh
definitely
man. Well, unfortunately, I'm out of questions. I'm out of my 5 questions. So I think it's time to bring the show to an end,
all
which
right.
is always unfortunate. I mean,
It,
because I have this weird feeling that we could probably go all night.
I could go all night. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to charge up those paddles. We could do part two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how righty here is doing, but lefty, But well, obviously, for sure, when Cutthroat City comes out, I'd love to have you back on.
I would, hey, you know what? Just send a text. I'm there. I
Done.
I I, I could
Done.
keep going. I could keep going.
Um, yeah, because I mean, we got stuff to talk about in that movie too. Because like, hey, I imagine shooting in New Orleans is like, nope, stop, Tom. Future show.
It's good. It's fun, and that's look, that's a deal. We'll save it to that. I can talk about RZA. I can talk about New Orleans. We can talk about the cast. Just everything on that. So yeah, let's save it for another date. That'd be great.
Word. Well, Brandon, real quick, where can people find you on the media social?
I'm on two platforms. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter, and it's probably at bcoxdp at bcoxdp on both of them. So they're I'm private on Instagram, just because I'm trying to keep away all the weirdos. But
They
on
still
Twitter,
find you.
they still find me.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
just
if
personal
we
experience. The weirdos will always find you.
always find you. But yeah, no, I'm there. I'll go through and look through and say, oh, cool, Twitch person, boom, done. But I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. But those are my two platforms, Twitter and Instagram.
Cool. Well, I'll make sure for everybody who's watching after the fact on YouTube that I'll go ahead and drop those right down in the comment section or the description box down below. Um, Brandon, it has been a pleasure to sit down and chat with a fellow Marylander who's made it out of the state and made good. Uh, I was trying to explain the whole thing about being from Maryland to a friend, and no, actually, it was just last week with Steve Byers, where it's just we kind of just grab on to every Marylander that got out and did something really cool, and just like we just hold them up like Rafiki with Simba, and we're like, look at Parker Posey or Thomas Jane or Lewis Black, and we just hold them up because,
I'm holding up Tom Clancy right now.
hey man, I'm a little heavier than I'd like to be right now, so maybe it's all those extra bits. Uh,
Blame it on COVID-19.
yeah, we'll blame it on that one, and certainly not all the pizzas I eat. Uh,
Yeah. Oh, one thing I'll add before you finish. My new favorite pizza go-to place in Maryland. It's generic. You go there and pizza. I don't know if you've ever eaten there.
I can't say that I have. I'm a Lido's dude.
Lido's is good, but and pizza is like a custom you make. You go in line, you custom make
Oh,
the thing.
okay,
Get the hot honey on there at the end. It's worth it. That's all. I'll leave it at
I'll
that.
take your word on it. I'll give it a shot. But yeah, I've lived in a couple great pizza towns, so I am. People ask me like what style pizza I like. I'm like, yes,
That's you say pizza. I'm like, where? Where are we going?
and I'm just like, there's a couple things I don't want on there, but otherwise, yes, I'm down to clown.
Oh, good. Well,
Um,
hey, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and we need to go get pizza now.
Dude, we'll work on it. We'll work on it.
All
But
right,
Brandon, thanks again so much for being here. It was a pleasure having you. We'll have you on again at some point when the virus decides we can go to the movies again.
that'd be awesome. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it, and thanks everybody out there for listening and watching. And I hope we got a little bit of fun in there.
Yeah, Brian did a lot of talking, but he does that. He's my mod. That's it's his job. He drives conversation when I am, like talking to you. And then we also, Victor, thank you so much for being here. Chroma, thank you for being here. Wildstorm, thank you for being here. You all are great. The audience, they're why I continue doing the show. Well, actually, it's a lot. The guests too, because you guys are great, and I love helping spread the word of what you all are doing. But real quick before we go, round 2 of hashtag Pitcher Games starts tomorrow at 4 a.m. Eastern time, and it runs until 4 p.m. Eastern time. Look, the guy who runs it is English. He runs it on his time scale. That's why the hours are stupid. But look for me being around on Twitter. And don't forget, if you have a cool game, go ahead, throw that out there. Additionally, I've got Nick Morris, the screenwriter, coming on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and voice and performance actor Earl Balin, or Balon, I don't know how it's pronounced, but I'm going to go with Balin, is going to be on at 5 p.m. Eastern, all on this wonderful channel. You all know exactly where it is. So, why is nothing working today? Nothing is working. I hate this. All I've done is make his face disappear. It's supposed to imagine the camera is tight here, like it usually is at the end of the show. When I'm saying to you guys that I super appreciate all of you being here. Fictional Cat, thank you for popping in. Honestly, folks, again, once more, I do this show because you guys are great and you're a wonderful audience, and I really enjoy really enjoy interacting with you guys and getting an opportunity to bring really cool people to you. Other than that, thanks again so much for watching us, and I'll see you next time on That Tom Clancy Show.